¿Cómo están mis queridos alumnos? Muy buenas tardes. Bienvenidos a esta primera emisión de Rocío Vago en Radio, en nuestro programa Radio Mundo Bilingüe. ¿Por qué decidí que este programa se llame así? Porque de ahora en adelante su mundo es bilingüe. Claro que sí. Ahora usted puede también escuchar radio en inglés. Es parte de su proceso de aprendizaje del idioma inglés. Pero esto nos está llevando a que usted sea ahora sí bilingüe. Y no importa que en realidad usted esté comenzando en su proceso de aprendizaje. Claro que mientras más avance en su estudio, más podrá usted entender cuando escucha a alguien hablar en inglés. Pero a partir de hoy, ese alguien seré yo, su maestra. Así es que se sentirá usted en confianza y no tendrá tanto el estrés de ¿qué dijo? Dios mío, ¿qué dijo? Porque además todo va a estar basado en las clases que vimos esta semana en el canal de YouTube. Es nuestro salón de clases, por supuesto. Y de hecho, estas grabaciones de radio estarán disponibles así en su formato de radio, pero también las estaré subiendo a el canal de YouTube para que más y más personas tengan oportunidad de escuchar estas prácticas de listening que serán a la vez recordatorio de, como dije ya, lo que vimos en clase. Así es que comenzaré a hablar en inglés, preste mucha atención y recuerde, lo más importante es que usted haya visto todas las clases que salieron publicadas esta semana, porque de otra forma usted no tendrá ni idea de lo que le estoy hablando. Así es que comencemos con la primera clase. So, let's get started. Our first class we're going to talk about today, it was about the difference between alone and lonely. Yes, so somebody is alone when there is nobody around. Yes, the person is by himself or herself. There is nobody around. Or we use alone too when someone did something without any help. Yes, so I did it alone. I did it by myself. That is perfectly right. Lonely, by other hand, is a feeling. Someone can feel lonely, doesn't matter there is so many people around. Yes, so loneliness is a feeling. A person feels lonely, doesn't matter that person is or not alone. You get it? So, yes, loneliness is a little bit of a sad situation. But it's not the same lonely than alone. And it is important that you see the class and you study all the examples I give there, because that way you can understand right now what exactly I am talking about. Yes, of course, I know you have the idea. And if not, please go and watch the video or study the lesson. It's up to you how you want to say it. Second, we have the class about the phrasal verbs with sit, like sit down and sit up. Well, sit down is the regular situation. You know, it's a phrasal verb, we have a verb, and we have a preposition. And as you can listen, I am on the middle of the street. Okay, no, I am not. But I tell you something, my eyes are closed. Yes, well, at least one, and the other a little bit too. But the great thing is I don't need my eyes to do this like a radio. Yeah, it's amazing, doesn't it? So, okay, if one person is standing, is going to sit down, you know, to position his butt on the chair. And then the person is going to be seated. That is the verb in past participle, seated. Yes, but what happened when someone is laying down? Yeah, is on the bed. Now the person is going to sit, but is going to sit up. Not sit down, sit up. Because the person was totally horizontal. So it is not sit down when the person is already laying on the bed or the floor. So that is the difference between sit up and sit down. And as I mentioned in the class, I know people who doesn't even know sit up. How come? They speak English. Well, but not much education, and that's what you're getting here. You are getting real education about English. The same then the next lesson. Why and because. What is the difference? Well, I actually mentioned in the class that we also, or some people has confusing about these words in Spanish. Yes, I've met so many people who has no idea about two different words. Okay, well, that happens in Spanish and also in English. So why? We asking for a reason. And because we give the reason. Yeah. So, why are you late? Because it was so much traffic. Yeah, let's see, that is an example. Why? You're asking something, and because you're giving the answer. But the thing and the truth is, why and because are not only used for questions. Of course not. They can be used in other ways, not just questions. Okay? But it is very important that you understand. So, why are you so adorable? Because it's how I am, that person said. So, why you asking? And because you are answering. So, got it? Okay. Then, and we were talking about adjectives. Our class is named You Must Know This to Say You Speak English. Yes, I tell you why I said that. Because there is people who speaks English, let's see, fluently, and then they come and say things like pretties, girls, pretties, or things like that. White houses. No, in English, we don't use the plural for the adjectives. Adjectives are always just the way they are. You don't add any s. You don't make them plural as we do in Spanish. In Spanish, we use the plural for the adjective, but not in English. And that is why it's very important that you study that lesson properly. Because it's something very simple. But if you're still thinking in Spanish and you're still translating everything, you will end up saying a nonsense, a terrible bad thing in English. And that is extremely important. The same then the difference between like and as. Because as you know, I like, what did I say? Ice cream. Yes. So, as and like. They sometimes get in a confusing situation. It is confusing mostly because like has different uses and let's say meanings. Yes, of course. And we can have as and like a couple of times in one sentence, and that becomes really confusing if you don't know all the meanings and uses of like and also as. Actually, to study this lesson, you must have studied before 4 other classes, well, mostly 2. The basic of as, but actually I have 3 lessons for as. But the first one is the most important and about the like. You must study those 2 lessons in order to understand this fifth. Yes, this is the number 5. And well, all this is because you are going seriously in your English learning process. That is why you're taking all these steps. In that way, you can understand when I say, and because you feel lonely, you want to sit down all the time. You don't want to run, as I do. Well, actually, I cannot run right now because, as you know, I have an issue with my eyes, mostly with one. Why? Well, I don't know. I still don't know, and probably nothing wrong. It's not going to be a terrible issue, but at this moment, I need to take everything slowly. Yeah. But, well, I really like doing things for you guys. That's why I am doing this radio program, even I have my eyes closed. But why I can do this? Because I know what I was teaching you this week. I know I was talking about lonely and what. Oh yeah, I remember everything. So lonely and alone. And of course the difference between sit up and sit down and well, all those things that I mentioned. So the point today is as long as you get familiar with all those things, you get familiar with all those words, now you can understand when someone is saying that word. If you don't know the word, let's say, alone, if you don't know that word, you cannot understand it. Of course not, because it doesn't exist for you. But when you already know something, then you recognize that word, even is written or spoken. In this moment, it's spoken. And it is very important that you pay attention as much as you can, because every single word counts. Every single word counts. Trust me. If you know one word, just remember that word and, well, it is important to have it always in mind. Yes, and in that, I'm going to talk about something totally different. I'm going to talk about whatever comes to my mind. Okay, well, not really, but I'd like to talk about happiness. What happiness means to you? What do we need to be happy? Well, you have no idea how many rich, but very, very rich people, they got suicide. Yes. So, it's not always like for sure I will be happy if I were rich. That is not like for sure, I tell you, because, well, I don't know, I've never been rich, but I've been happy my entire life. Of course, happiness sometimes takes breaks. Yes. But as loneliness is a feeling, happiness is also a feeling. Of course, when something really sad happens in our life, we cannot be happy, for sure not. But eventually, we're going to overcome that feeling. Let's say, when I became a widow, I was the loneliest, saddest, terribly sad person in the world. But eventually, I became, again, a happy person, because it's what I am. I am a happy person, that is the truth. And what a happy person does, enjoy whatever you have. Yes, sometimes it's hard to enjoy poverty and no money. Well, it is actually difficult to feel happy, but it's not impossible. And the point is, well, right now, I might be poor, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be sad. So one person can be poor, but working hard to improve its financial situation, right? Of course, that is a different thing. Not because I am happy means that I will do nothing. Of course not. Let's do something to improve the financial situation, but that doesn't mean I am the saddest person in the world. No. It's not the same. Of course, not the same. So, happiness, the same than loneliness, is a feeling. And that feeling comes from inside the person. Yeah? Well, we shouldn't expect happiness coming from others. No, happiness comes from ourselves. Yes, if I don't have happiness inside of me, how can I give happiness to other people? You know what I mean? I can't give something if I don't have it. So, first of all, we need to have the feeling in order to be able to give it to somebody else. And that is my point today. And this is my first radio program. It's not a lesson. This is not a class. You study the classes in YouTube. In here, we just practice your listening skills. Yes, that is what you need to practice, and that is the purpose of this radio station. Rocío Vago en Radio está hecha precisamente para que usted empiece a afinar su oído y no se sienta aterrorizado cuando tiene que entender a alguien que está hablando todo en inglés. Tenemos que practicar eso. Y para eso precisamente es que estoy aquí. Y usted podrá escuchar estas emisiones desde Spreaker en su teléfono, pero también estarán disponibles en YouTube. Me interesa que estén disponibles para usted de la forma en que sea. Lo importante es que usted tenga acceso a estos materiales porque son parte de su aprendizaje del idioma inglés. Y usted sabe que yo estoy muy comprometida con usted para que lo logre y trato de darle todas las más herramientas que puedo. Así es que aquí, en Radio Mundo Bilingüe, el propósito es que su mundo se empiece a volver realmente bilingüe y usted no sienta pánico de escuchar a alguien hablando inglés. Se sienta cada vez más relajado. Y bueno, va a empezar aquí conmigo porque se siente en casa. Claro, soy yo, su maestra. Ahora preparando estas ediciones para usted. Y este programa, bueno, está patrocinado por ¿quién cree usted que está patrocinado este programa? Por Vago Multiservices, claro que sí. En Vago Multiservices nosotros proveemos servicios de traducción e interpretación online y, bueno, utilizando otros recursos de la modernidad. También realizamos traducciones de documentos y traducción simultánea, ya le digo, por esas vías. ¿Y a quiénes me refiero cuando hablo en plural? Pues a Rocío y a mí. Yo soy sola. Yo soy la persona que le brinda a usted esos servicios y el nombre de mi empresa es Vago Multiservices, localizada en Toronto, Canadá, desde donde le estoy transmitiendo este primer programa de Radio Mundo Bilingüe. Espero que le guste, espero que usted esté al pendiente, que baje la aplicación de Spreaker porque eventualmente lo estaré haciendo en vivo. El día de hoy no, por diversas razones. De hecho, tengo un ojito que está así como lastimado, pero definitivamente y por fortuna, gracias a Dios, pude presentar este programa el día de hoy. Quería yo hacerlo en vivo, ciertamente, pero lo importante es que usted cuente con este material y la idea es que lo voy a estar transmitiendo en vivo los sábados. Pero al día de hoy lo hacemos de esta forma porque deseo llegar a usted con estos materiales que son, ya sabe usted, material de aprendizaje en su proceso de aprendizaje del idioma inglés, porque ya sabe usted que yo estoy convencida y más que convencida de que usted puede. Por supuesto que puede. Muchas gracias y nos vemos en la próxima. Hasta luego.